sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. Got this client that I met with yesterday. Been working with her for about 3 or 4 months, and she's a very high producer, has been a very high producer, worked for a big company, and she bailed out of there. Said she hated the corporate bullshit, and now she's running her own shop. And everybody knows I'm a big fan of that. There are a lot of good things. If you're the right person, you've got enough drive and commitment, and you're willing to suffer a little bit, I'm a big believer that that's a great way to go for some people. So anyway, big fan of hers. And she came to me yesterday with a problem that a lot of people have when they're starting a business, when they can, they're out there on their own, they're ready to go. And she's busy. I mean, she's working 70, 80 hours a week, which is not unusual for somebody that's in sales, that's running their own company, right? It just happens. And as part of the commitment that makes it so worth it. And most people I know that have been there, myself included, I wouldn't trade that shit for the world. While I was in the trenches, it kind of sucked. But I look back and say, that's kind of what made me who I am. That's what makes me know that I'm doing the right thing. So anyway, she said, I'm busy as shit. I'm all over the place. I've got big customers, small customers. I've got all these things I can sell, and I don't even have time to think. What do I do? So we started talking about what she was doing. And I said, tell me something. Let's talk about who your ideal client is. Who's an ideal prospect for you? And she said, well, I mean, I sell, 90 different products, so it could be anything. And so she hadn't heard this story before. Maybe some of y'all hadn't either. We talked about squirrels, deer, and elephants. So if you've heard this before, I apologize, but it's a damn good story and it has a good point. So a lot of my clients tell me that anyway. So a man lives out in the woods. He's got to feed his family. And he says, there are a whole lot of squirrels in the woods. So he gets up in the morning, he walks all day, shoots 5 or 6 squirrels, comes back, skins them, cleans them, cooks them, feeds his family one meal. Yuck. Gets up the next day, walks all day, shoots 5 or 6 squirrels, skins them, cleans them, cooks them. Yuck. Day 3, day 4, day 5 go by, and everybody's bitching. He's exhausted, working his tail off, walking 5, 8, 10 miles a day to go kill these damn squirrels and bring them home. And it's not worth it. Nobody's getting full. They're sick of this shit. He's sick of this shit. And so he says, I'm going to go kill an elephant because I can kill one of those and feed my family for a couple of years. So he gets up the next day and he grabs all the stuff necessary to kill an elephant, and he waves at his family as he leaves, says, I'm going to kill an elephant. Don't worry. When I come back, everything's going to be great. We're going to have plenty of food. We don't have to worry about all that bullshit. We'll be full. No more squirrels. So he walks off and he's gone. Everybody's excited when he left. Won't that be great? Dad's going to come back with all this stuff. We won't ever be hungry again. It's going to be killer. But about 2 days later, the son goes, this is kind of bullshit. I don't know when Dad's coming back. There are no elephants nearby. They're hard to kill. Shit. Dad, dumbass, he may get killed by an elephant. We just don't know. How the hell would he drag it back? This doesn't make any damn sense. So he thinks to himself, he goes, there are a lot of deer in the woods too. So he grabs his rifle, climbs a tree, gets lucky. First day, shoots a nice deer, drags it back, skins it, cleans it. He's able to feed the family for 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. Goes out 10 days later, shoots another deer. All right, so y'all already know how this story ends. Think about your prospects, people you're calling on who have not yet given you money, and your existing customers, clients, as squirrels, deer, or elephants. And there's nothing wrong with any of them. Squirrels are the little ones. They're probably coming to you automatically. Maybe you started with them when you started your business, and they love you, and they need you, and you're taking great care of them, but it's wearing your ass out. There's not a lot of money in a squirrel, and there's a lot of service to handle a squirrel. So if you right now are running like crazy, just trying to service your existing accounts and you don't have time to prospect, you say, chances are you've got a book full of squirrels, right? They're running you to death. The problem, among the problems with squirrels, right, is that people refer you to other people like themselves or smaller. So if you start with a book of squirrels, they're going to bring you more and more squirrels who will love you and need your help and wear your ass out. And even if you're making big margins, you ain't making no money. The other end are the elephants, right? Just like when dad goes off to go kill an elephant, shit, that can take forever. They're a pain in the butt. They go through all this, make you go through all this crap, RFPs, vendor lists, all this shit. It could take years to go close one. And to do that, you've got to make all kinds of promises. You've got to add a bunch of stuff you don't do right now, probably add people. You got to make a lot of concessions. Their lawyers will beat your ass to death. Anybody recognize this? Right? And then, but you're excited to have them. And maybe you tell your friends, I just closed whatever, Google or fucking IBM or, somebody else, right? Somebody big. Just closed them. So excited. It's your marquee account. Hey, boy, you get to work and you are so excited and you take just the best care of them and you've got to hire more people and you put that shit on there, but they're paying you plenty of money and this is good. Pretty soon, if not immediately, the first thing that happens is they'll say, hey, while you're in here doing this, do you mind doing this too? We're not going to pay any more money, but since we're already paying you X amount of money, how about take care of this too? You're like, oh, hell yeah, I'll be happy to do that. That's great. Not a problem. We call this scope creep. First thing they'll do, ask for more for free shit. Right? Scope creep. Hey, we love you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you doing that. Hey, can you do this too? So you do that too. Then some time goes by. Everything's glorious as far as you know. You're running like hell and it's hard, but you're taking good care of the big guy. 10% for the big guy. And then at some point in the future, they call you and say, hey man, we really love you. Love this relationship. Thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for busting your ass for us. It's great. Here's the problem. Some of your competitors have come back and they've said, you're charging us whatever, $100,000 a month. They say they can do it for $70,000 a month. And maybe in your world, you're charging $10,000 a month. They say they can do it for $7,000 a month, whatever that is. Can you help us? We'd rather do business with you, but hey, we got board obligations and things are kind of tight. Can you help us? Guess what most people do? Hell yeah, I value this relationship. So you go from 10 to 7, and all of a sudden you're not making any damn money anymore. And you have this payroll that you've had to do, and you've ramped up to do all this other shit, and you got to keep those people working because you got the work. Their work hadn't changed. And then at some point in the future, after that, because you're running like crazy, you can't keep it up, your service is going to diminish just by the fact that you're getting paid less. You can't do as much for them. So the next call you get, or next several calls you get are, hey, your service sucks. You suck. You're gone. You're fired. All of a sudden, boom, you're stuck with, I don't know, maybe nothing because you hadn't had time to prospect because you've been running with this. And if you brought in somebody else, you might not be able to handle them. So now you're kind of screwed, right? Elephants. Now, I want you to consider an elephant is anything that's more than, say, 25% of your revenue. If any one client is more than 25% of your revenue, consider them to be an elephant. Okay. Let's talk about deer. Deer are the ones in the middle, right in your sweet spot. You could handle, everybody's business is different, but somewhere between 20 and 100. If you have between 20 and 100 customers in this range, you'd be rolling, right? And you can define this. I like to define this by revenue generated. How much revenue can you generate from one of these things? Maybe it's profitability, revenue generation, however you want to measure that metric. What is that number? And then what do those companies, what do those opportunities look like? Be able to describe those to other people so you can say, hey, can I tell you who I'm looking for? And maybe if you're in property and casualty insurance, maybe you say, it's somebody that has multiple locations and a whole bunch of trucks, right? Or a whole lot of dock doors and, or maybe if you're in, health insurance, it's anybody with, 50 to 200 employees. Be able to say, describe it to somebody else. And maybe in that situation, maybe you're in the 15 to 50 people, maybe you're in the 500 to 1500. I don't freaking care, but know what your sweet spot is, right? Squirrels happen, elephants happen, deer happen. But I want you to focus your marketing efforts. I want you to focus your service efforts. I want you to focus your prospecting efforts on your deer. That's where I want you to spend your time, right? Now, here's what I hope. 5 years from now, what is an elephant to you today is a deer for you. It's great that it grows. If you have an elephant now, it doesn't mean fire them. Just recognize them for what they are. If somebody's 25% of your revenue base right now, here's what you can do to save yourself. Dilute it. Go bring on more clients. Do what you have to do so that no one entity has this power over you that if they leave, you're screwed. So important. Be intentional about who you're calling on. Work on the deer, right? So we talked about who her dear customer was. And she said it's somebody that would spend somewhere between, I think it was $250,000 and $500,000 a year. Right? That was a deer for her. And so we talked about, she said, well, we can talk about a customer segment, right? These kind of customers would do that. But here's the thing. She sells multiple products, tons and tons of products. She probably sells 25 different products. And I said, tell me about that customer segment. If you sell into them with all your shit, how long does that take for you to generate revenue? And she said, it could take a while. It could take 6 months to a year, sometimes longer than that, because there are contracts we have to displace. Negotiations are a long time. It's a pain in the ass. But, that customer segment, I know how to handle them. I said, okay, great. I said, let's talk about this. What are some products that you sell, a product or two that you sell that can make you good money, that you can close quickly so that you can build up your cash so that your business is humming, right? That you can close quickly. It's not a problem. You can make pretty good money on it, right? It's a dear amount of money. She's in a business that gives recurring revenue. I said, how do we focus on that? So we decided instead of picking these two customer types and going to sell them everything, she said, I think it's best if I pick these couple of products that have a short sales cycle, we can make good money. And if I focused on this solely for 6 months, I can build up my cash and I can be safe. And then I'll have time to play the long game with these other customers while continuing to go after this. And the next salesperson I hire, I'll put them on this type product, right? The same product I need to sell to build up cash, and I can afford them to work on the longer accounts. So think about your situation. Where are you spending your time now? What are the products that you are selling? Which ones can you sell that can bring cash in the door the quickest, that are reasonable amounts of cash that are worth your time spending, that once you're able to get that part of your business going, then you can begin to focus on the longer term projects. Now, you always have to have some of both, but where do you want to spend most of your time? Who are the deer? And what are the products that you can sell those people that you can turn into cash the quickest and continue to move and grow your business? I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Keep moving. If you need help growing your business, if you're looking out going, oh my God, I had customers all over me for 2 or 3 years and now shit, interest rates going up, things are changing. I got to figure out how to go prospect again. I help people with that all the time. Let me know. Walker at walkermckay.com.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.